nose line. Let's see if you get short some. If you look to the right, here is Steve's rock. It's the inspiration to the flower tower. Steve was building this waterfall and accidentally backed into a tree. And in his frustration, he damaged the ground. And the flower towers were born. Coming up here on the right is one of 5 settling ponds. They're designed to catch the sediment and debris coming down from the mountain. Steve digs out thousands of tons every year before it reaches the ocean. It also helps slow down the water flow and keep the men on the ocean line. Coming up on the right here is a flower tower. I'm not sure if they told you this yet or not, but all our flower towers, whatever you see on the surface is what they're buried in the ground. So they're not going to tip over by any means. And Steve did not cut down one tree to make one flower tower. They all came down with the landslide. And Steve brought them all back up here. We've had torrential rain for the last week, so our waterfalls are working pretty good. Others aren't, but some are. Coming up on the right here is our flower tower shower. Steve ran a hose up the mountain and poked some holes in it. The coldest shower in Alaska, but the torrential rain took its toll, so Steve is trying to reconstruct it now. But when he's done, it'll be the coldest shower in Alaska again. Straight ahead is where the slide did come down, but we're going to leave the slide right now and come up into the forest. Tongass National Forest is about 16.9 million acres. It's about the same size as West Virginia. Coming up here on the left is what we call our skunk cabbage. We don't have any skunk here, but we do have their cabbage coming up here on the left, a big green leafy plant. The bears do eat the roots of that coming out of hibernation, though. It acts as a laxative for them. I just recently Googled that bears burn 4,000 calories a day hibernating. It's a great diet to be on. Go to sleep for a week, wake up 30 pounds lighter, man. I could live with that diet. Coming on the right and left are 2 more flower towers. Steve's got about halfway up the boardwalk now. There's about 30 of them on the property. He was out here one day and he had his chainsaw with him and he saw this stump coming up on the left. And he just had to carve himself out a 5-star squirrel hotel coming up here on the left here. Of course, it's pretty hard to get reservations this time of year. And the residents are really nutty. Nothing's too good for our squirrels. If you look to right and left of us, you're looking at berry bushes. The Tongass National Forest, forest floor, 70% of the forest floor is covered with berry bushes. The majority are blueberry. Hopefully to see a bear or two when the salmon season slows down a little bit. This is their next stop. Flower towers we're going to see until we reach the top here. It's been a cold spring, so Steve got a late start putting out all his flowers. Didn't get the ones on the right here yet. But if you look straight ahead, you're looking at a cliff. And the right side of that cliff is concave. And that was due to ocean waves that used to sit at the seashore at one time. And now it's about 200 feet above sea level. There used to be a mile to a mile and a half of glacier sitting over our heads. It's called isostatic glacial rebound. Even as we speak, this area is rising about a quarter of an inch a year still. Coming up on the left around this little bend here, the wind blew this big tree down. It didn't make it all the way down the ground, as you can see, coming up on the left. The wind is the #1 regenerator of this forest. Unlike other forests, Montana, California, Washington, fire is the regenerator, but in a cold, temperate, wet rainforest like this, that is not possible. So the wind is the #1 regenerator, and landslides are the second. Coming up on the right is our friendly Devil's Club again, saying don't reach out and grab me. A lot of hikers do get in trouble when they leave the beaten path and go out into the woods. They'll run into a patch. Some of these patches can be a mile wide, and it makes them change directions. And when they change directions, they get lost. That plant's responsible for a lot of people changing directions. Coming around the corner here is a 350-year-old Sitka spruce that was blown over by the wind about 14 years ago. When we turn this little corner here, I'd like you to pay attention to the root system. Coming up here on the right here. Does anybody see any roots that go down? None of these roots have any tap roots whatsoever. They have the major buddy system going. All these trees, sometimes we get gusts coming down this valley of 80 miles an hour. It's been measured at the top of Thunder Mountain of excess of 200 miles an hour. When we turn the corner here, start to head up the mountain, I look up a little bit to the right, you can see what the wind can do. Snapped this tree right in half actually. Up to the right when we turn the corner here. If you look up to the right a little bit up the road there, just snapped this big old tree right in half. To the right there, just snapped it right in half there. If you look to the left, beautiful view of the forest floor. We're going to lose sunlight the higher we go. And those saplings are going to be half the size when we get up to the boardwalk here. Coming up on the left here, we call our donut tree. This is a tree that grew up over a boulder. And when the tree outgrew the boulder, it just set it free and the boulder just rolled away coming up here on the left. You can still see the impression of the boulder in the trunk there, but we call it our donut tree coming up on the left. Up on the right here is a marine shale. It used to be underneath the ocean at one time. Coming up on the right. Steve also used a lot of it to build a road too. Beautiful view of the forest floor on the left too. also use the geofabric in between to keep the vegetation out. Coming up on the left when we turn the corner here. On the left, every one of those logs came down with the landslide. Steve brought every one of them back up here to make his bridges. Did not cut down one tree. Coming up on the right, though, is what we call Cascade Corner. It's an ancient earthquake fault that happened about 10,000 years ago coming up here.